It is in our nature to prefer order, as it gives us the feeling that our future is somewhat predictable. Rules and intuition help us feel like we are on the right track. But when can we say that we are so far apart from one another that the current social order starts to crumble and change? We take the role of a local sheriff known as Bigby Wolf in a telltale game called The Wolf Among Us. We're an enforcer of order for fables who left their stories to go live in New York City. We come to help our friend Toad because he wanted us to fix the situation upstairs. But from the conversation, we learn that he does not have money to buy glamour, magical dust that is used to hide somebody's fairy tale nature from real people. Toad's circumstances tell us that money is still a driving force for their society, because nobody can fully function as citizens without it. And yet, he has to save it because he does not know if he will have enough for his son, nor he's delighted with the increasing prices that he has to pay. As an enforcer, we should inform Toad that he has to use glamour so everyone is safe from the eyes of Mondays, the real people. But the situation does not require its use, depending on your perspective. We're exercising our authority, but clearly we do not recognize Toad's situation. He was and probably would have been perfectly fine without our intervention. On the other hand, Bigby does not need to worry about glamour because he works for the government, so he does not need to worry about the rules that he himself enforces. Here you may be inclined to think that authority is the ultimate source of order. However, it was Bigby who disrupted the order that Toad had set for himself. And clearly, it was not Toad's first choice to need to save glamour for his family, or pay the ever-increasing prices. As we go upstairs, we see how a man called the Woodsman and an unknown girl are arguing. We also hear Woody shout, "Do you know who I am?" before we enter the room. What could this mean? Is he proud of his history as a hero? He could be the one character whose newly found freedom has demolished his old identity, one that he took from the fairy tale world. We end up fighting Woody to stop him from attacking the girl and making the situation even worse. We win, but at the same time we fall out of the window and wreck Toad's car. Toad is of course not too happy about it, but then he notices that Woody is still on his feet. After another short fight, we finally get to talk to our savior, the unknown lady. She apparently seeks compensation for her work. However, we find that Woody is not only drunk, but also penniless. We could have figured it out by looking at his apartment, empty, unclean, and now wrecked. We could take a stance that it was ultimately Woody who started this mess, and leave it at that. And we eventually do so without ever wondering why Woody is in this situation in the first place. No money and seeking short-term pleasures. Maybe it's all because he just wants to escape the world he's in just for a little while. Evidently, him shouting, "Do you know who I am?" is not a simple fetish, but a longing for an identity that was lost. History that was lost. And this is a recurring theme in the game. Loss of identity that comes when desiring a change in your circumstances. Sometimes it could be for the better, resulting in personal growth when achieved, but at times it could be just as destructive. We can tell who the girl is and why she needs compensation. She never tells us her name, however, and who she works for. Without the money, we feel she will have some dire consequences. Thus we try to help. And we see that her situation is not better than anybody else's. Pushed into a corner, she works a job that she does not enjoy, and for sure she does not see any future in it. However, she has to for her day-to-day needs. Overall, we have seen how working class people are exploited for their money, the true cost of being poor, how the government enforces the rules without seeking to understand people's situation, opting to simply think of citizens as somebody who must be constantly herded for everybody's sake. In the end, we see people backed into corners, working for employers for contracts that only benefit the employer themselves. And we see how searching for better circumstances can destroy somebody's sense of self. But mainly, we see disorder everywhere, when people misunderstand each other and act in ways that diminish or push people into corners. It is not that just that little argument in Woody's apartment. The whole system is crumbling. This means that people will soon fear for their future, and maybe they already have started to do so. And fear can lead people to seek change even more fiercely, because they have nothing to lose. While in their eyes, the ones in power are the ones that have it all.